Hello, this video is going to demonstrate how to make a quick and easy, no bake, no dairy St. Patrick's mint pie. The beautiful thing about this is because it's not dairy, almost everybody in your family can enjoy this dessert. 65% of the general population is usually lactose intolerant. That means about 2/3 of the population cannot handle dairy. This is one dessert that everybody can enjoy on St. Patrick's Day. So let's take a look at the general ingredients for this pie. The ingredients for the St. Patrick's Day pie recipe are the following. You'll need 1 graham cracker pie crust that you can usually pick up at the store. I prefer to pick up the Oreo pie crust because it has a chocolate taste and goes so well with this mint pie. You'll need 2 8-ounce packages of non-dairy cream cheese, which again should be available in most of your big box stores. You'll need 1.5 cups powdered sugar, 2 teaspoons of peppermint extract, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then 2 tablespoons of non-dairy cream, or you can use non-dairy milk, which is also available at most stores. Then you'll need 2 cups non-dairy whipped cream. I was easy on this and I went to the store and bought a pre-made whipped cream. My stores carried it. If your store does not carry a pre-made whipped cream, you can also make your own, and that's what the instructions are at the bottom, with usually 1 cup of oat milk warmed, and then also about 1/2 cup to 1 cup of either canola oil or coconut oil. It's a 2-stage process, so be prepared for some work in making your own whipped cream. The instruction video that you're about to see was recorded in front of a live video conferencing audience using the ESDN video conferencing software. It was part of the on-the-spot video challenge. The first ingredient that we're going to need is 2 8-ounce packages of non-dairy cream cheese at room temperature. We happen to use the product Daya for our cream cheese. It is a very good product and it has won many taste tests. So we'll go ahead and we'll scoop in the Daya cream cheese 2 cups into a blender bowl, and we'll make sure that we put it all in, and it should be still somewhat solid even at room temperature. This will lead us to our next step, which will be using the 2 tablespoons of non-dairy cream. We happen to use 2 tablespoons of non-dairy milk, and the product we happened to use was Silk, which was an oat silk milk that we put the 2 tablespoons into the mixing bowl. After we put the milk and the cream cheese into the bowl, we're going to go ahead and place that onto the mixer. And this will allow us to get the first stage of the process started. That will be to mix these 2 ingredients together. As we start the mixer, we're going to let the cream cheese and milk mix for about 1 minute to 2 minutes. And then what we're going to do is add 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. When we add this 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, we want to only put about half of this in to start out with. The reason that we only want half of the powdered sugar to start out with is we need the cream cheese and milk mixture to absorb part of this powdered sugar. So we'll go ahead and put half of this in, and then we're going to start the mixer again. We will put a plastic splash guard on the mixer to prevent the powdered sugar from flying all over the place, and then we will begin the mixer. We will let this mix for about 1 minute to 2 minutes until the consistency becomes like cake batter or frosting, and then we will add the second part of the powdered sugar, which will be the remaining amount of the powdered sugar, which is the other 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. So we'll go ahead and put just everything else of the powdered sugar into this mixture. And it can get a little messy, I know. And once we have it all in there, we're going to put back the plastic guard, and then we're going to start mixing again. We're going to want to make sure that the powdered sugar is mixed in thoroughly with the cream cheese here. So we're going to go ahead and start the blender, and then we're going to move on to the next part, which is adding the 2 cups non-dairy whipped cream. Now the 2 cups of non-dairy whipped cream we're using here, as you can see, Cocoa Whip, And as you can see, this is the store-bought Cocoa Whip, and it looks just like you would find like Cool Whip or any other whipped cream products. But this doesn't have any dairy in it, and that's why we're using the Cocoa Whip. Now, one container is equivalent to about 2 cups of whipped cream. So we're going to go ahead and slow down the mixer here, and I'm going to go ahead and put the whipped cream in with the cream cheese and the powdered sugar. Now, notice that this texture is like frosting. That's the time that you know that it's ready to add the whipped cream to the actual mixture. Now, I've also made my own whipped cream that was made out of oat milk, and also about half a cup of coconut oil. And I plan to use that in the future, but I just wanted something quick and easy. That's why I used the store-bought whipped cream, and it's something that anybody could do quickly. It is somewhat of a challenge to make your own non-dairy whipped cream. It takes a lot of experimentation, but the best recipe is a cup of oat milk warmed and a half a cup of coconut oil warmed, and then what you do is you then put it in the fridge and then come back to it and whip it up, and then you'll have whipped cream later. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put the plastic container on this, and we're going to mix this again for a few more minutes. While we start the mixing, we're going to then move on to adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So after we've let this mix for probably a good 2 minutes, I'm going to add here 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract into the mixture. And then I'm going to follow that up with 2 teaspoons of peppermint extract. Now this stuff is pretty potent. If you get a little of the peppermint extract on your fingers, you'll have nice peppermint smelling hands for the rest of the day. It's a very good extract to use in a non-dairy pie that we're using here for St. Patrick's Day. So this is going to work out great. And then once we have them both in, we're going to start the mixing again. Now, a St. Patrick's pie would not be complete without the green food coloring. That is one of the most important ingredients that was left off the original list, but is pretty common. Most people have food coloring laying around in their pantry, and this is some green food coloring that we're going to go ahead and add while the mix is taking place. And this is what gives it its real St. Patrick's flair, that green, to really emphasize the minty pie that we're making for St. Patrick's Day. The final ingredient for the St. Patrick's Day pie is the pie crust. And we happen to be using an Oreo pie crust that's store-bought. Now, I know some people prefer to make their own pie crust, which you are perfectly capable of doing if that's something you're comfortable. You can either make a graham cracker pie crust or even a flour pie crust. Now, this last step, all we have to do is put the, looks like cake batter into the pie crust. And this is the final stage in preparation for the no-bake pie before we put it into the fridge. So what you're going to see here is as I pour this in, it has a consistency a lot like cake batter or pancake batter, and it's going to go right into that pie crust. Now it's going to look really creamy. It's going to have a nice smooth texture, and it should fill the entire pie crust with a little bit of a dome on the texture when we smooth it out. So it'll be a little higher in the middle than it will be around the edges. Now, the one thing about the St. Patrick's pie, as you go through, if you were taste testing or sampling, as I know many of us do, if you sampled it and you thought it needed a little more sugar or a little more peppermint extract, you're more than welcome to do that. It is based on taste. Just be cautious. Peppermint extract is potent, so 2 teaspoons is quite a bit. If you want to make those heaping teaspoons, you can do that. And the same thing for powdered sugar if you wish to add a little more powdered sugar, depending on your sweet tooth. But this pie then is pretty much all set, and it can be done within about 15 to 20 minutes. And it actually can be done in less than that time. And you can then prepare that, smooth it out like I'm doing here, and then it'll be ready to be put into the freezer for the enjoyment of having a St. Patrick's feast. Again, the St. Patrick's pie is really easy, and that's it. You have the full pie. I'm going to put the pie cover back on, and it's going to go into the refrigerator for probably 2 hours. The pie is very simple, easy, and I hope you get a chance to enjoy this great delicacy on St. Patrick's Day and make this a new tradition. Thank you very much.